And here we are once again, Terror Tuesday Part 2. Oh, something to show. To prove that I wasn't talking out my bum last time, I do have a copy of Carrie, okay, from Part 1. Part 2, as I said, was The Conjuring from 2013. Now, I don't know if you know or you do know, but The Conjuring spun off a whole universe of stuff. Conjuring films, Annabelle films, the Nun films. So I have watched and I do own, okay? So The Conjuring, 2013, directed by James Wan. Now, remember James Wan, he done some of the Fast and Furious films.
Family, 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 family.
Starring Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga. It's all about the Warrens. So you've got Ed and Lorraine Warren, who are well renowned. They were ghost hunters, basically, and ghost investigators, and investigating the paranormal and possessions and exorcisms and hauntings, etc. And the original Conjuring from 2013 was based on an investigation they performed for the Perron family back in 1971 bear with me, I did write it down somewhere. So it's Roger and Carolyn Perron and their 5 daughters in Harrisville, Rhode Island. So they said, the Perrons, they were haunted for over nearly 10 years, with different spirits, some friendly, some not so friendly, one of which was a witch called, Bathsheba Sherman. And that's the one that the Warrens thought was the dark entity in the house that wanted to possess and kill. So that's what the film was based on. Now, since then, Andrea, the eldest daughter of the Perrons, has written a few books about the whole experience, and claimed that the film is 95% fiction and 5% truth. Of course, that's because they try and put 9 years of hauntings into 2 and a bit hours for a film. So there's a bit of Hollywood play, if you like. So a bit of a writer's-free style, if you want, and trying to weave it all together to condense it into a film. So you can sort of understand that. Bit of storytelling, okay. But the film itself, if you haven't seen it, when it came out in 2013, I don't remember there being much in the way of horror around at the time. So when The Conjuring came out, I was really excited for it, especially because it's a James Wan film. And it didn't disappoint. There's a great scene in the trailer, the father's away, I think he was a lorry driver, and the mum and the daughters just moved into the house. They're playing a game of hide and seek, where the mum wears a blindfold and the kids clap their hands and the mum locates them by the sound. And in this particular scene, she goes into this one bedroom. She says to him, clap your hands, and the wardrobe behind her, the door's open and a pair of hands come out of the wardrobe from all the clothes and clap. She turns around, heads towards the wardrobe, says clap again. The same pair of hands come out. You then realise that they're not children's hands. They're old and white. Yeah, that definitely ain't one of her kids. And then just as she's about to go into the wardrobe, one of the daughters runs in. Didn't find me. And then the mum takes her blindfold off and was like, could have sworn he was in there, and then pulls the clothes apart. And of course, there's nobody in the wardrobe. But that's how the film goes. It's lots of dark, spooky bits like that. There's things that happen in the film. If you watch the trailer, if you don't watch anything else, the trailer is absolutely brilliant. And it's one of the things that I remember about the film more than anything else. So the original Conjuring, solid 8 out of 10. It's not as good as The Exorcist, but it's pretty good as horror films go, especially modern horrors, because there's not been a great many decent horror films of late. So it's a great one to watch. And like I say, with the universe, it then kicked off. You've got The Conjuring 2, which is my favourite one, which is based in England on the Enfield hauntings, which is all about poltergeist. And if you can watch that one as well, that's brilliant as well. But that's it for Terror Tuesday this week. Terror Tuesday next week, again, it'll be part 1, part 2. Part 1 is something we're going to try and do. We're going to do an older one for part 1, and then, as you may have noticed, a newer one for part 2. So to give you a clue on part 1 next week, and you can drop a comment if you can work out what it is, it's a film that's going to be 50 years old this year, a bit like Carrie. And it spawned 2 sequels. The second sequel starred Sam Neill. That's all I'm going to give you. See if you can work out what it is. Drop me a like, drop me a repost, drop me a thumbs up, and a comment if you can guess what film it is. And I'll see you real soon.